Hey y'all, so tonight we're doing Bible study, and if you weren't a part of the vote, I put in a vote last week, I think it was, to either do them on Sundays or on Wednesdays, and Wednesdays won. Now, I would have started last week, but I was trying to get my life together, so I didn't want to do nothing half done, okay? You don't do that with the Lord, you don't do that with anything in life, you don't prevail that way. And if you do, you don't even see the full grasp of what it could have been. So, without further ado, today or tonight, we're coming from Proverbs 6, the whole chapter, because it comes for everybody. So a little backstory on Proverbs. Proverbs is written by King Solomon. Who is King Solomon? King Solomon is the wisest man in the Bible. And not only that, but he was the second child, if I'm not mistaken, of King David. And that ended up being one of the children that he had with the wife Bathsheba, the one that he went and killed his homeboy so he could be with his wife Bathsheba. Yeah, they ended up coming together and having King Solomon. But with a lot of wisdom comes trials and tribulations and challenges and temptation. And Solomon was the perfect person, since he was the wisest man in the Bible, to know what to do and what not to do. So in verses 1 through 5, and I'm reading from the NLT version, it says, "My child, if you have put up security for a friend's debt or agreed to guarantee the debt of a stranger, if you have trapped yourself by your agreement and are caught by what you said, follow my advice and save yourself, for you have placed yourself at your friend's mercy. Now swallow your pride, go and beg to have your name erased. Don't put it off. Do it now. Don't rest until you do. Save yourself like a gazelle escaping from a hunter, like a bird fleeing from the net." One of the characteristics of being a part of God's image is being a person of integrity and a person that keeps their word, okay? Now, you aren't supposed to be making promises to people in the first place unless it is to God or it's a covenant between God and you know what I'm saying? And besides that, marriage. But anything else, you shouldn't be making no promises to, because biblically, it's not right. However, if you are saying that you're going to pay someone back, biblically it's saying it's not right to take your time paying them back. And it's not right to lie to them, because that's exactly what you're doing. You're lying, saying that you're going to pay them back and you don't. So if you're going to say, or if you're going to borrow from someone and you say, "I'm going to pay you back," you need to make it your business to pay them back, and pay them back in a timely manner, because the Bible says pay them and pay them now. Verses 6 through 8, it says, "Take a lesson from the ants, you lazy bones. Learn from their ways and become wise. Though they have no prince or governor or ruler to make them work, they labor hard all summer, gathering food for the winter." A man that don't work, don't eat. God does not like laziness, and that's biblical as well. He does not like laziness. He does not like procrastination, because procrastination just says to God and to you yourself that you think you got tomorrow promised, and tomorrow ain't promised to nobody. But if you look at ants and how they prepare and how hardworking they are and how their work ethic is, then you will realize, ants are kind of wise in their preparation. So God was saying this to Solomon, and Solomon was saying to us that, hey, you need to prepare. You need to stop being lazy. You need to put in the work, because a man that don't work don't eat. Then he doesn't stop there. He says in verse 9, "But you, lazy bones, how long will you sleep? When will you wake up? A little extra sleep, a little more slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, then poverty will pounce on you like a bandit. Scarcity will attack you like an armed robber." He is not letting up when it comes to laziness and procrastination, because both of those things can lead you to poverty. And then right after that, he says, "Scarcity will attack you like an armed robber." Scarcity means having little of something or nothing of a particular thing. Okay, so the wrong mindset is thinking that you can do it tomorrow, thinking that tomorrow is guaranteed, because tomorrow is not promised. We love tomorrows if we make it to tomorrows, but tomorrow's is not guaranteed. The right mindset is to plan your days like today is your last day living. Plan each minute, each hour. We all got the same 24 hours. What are you doing with yours? You need to incorporate new skills, new habits, better habits. Let go of things that are unnecessary and manage your time more wisely, because we all have the same 24 hours. I'm sure you don't want to be laying down, going to sleep, and then waking up and being broke and having scarcity everywhere. Then Solomon says in verses 12 through 15, he said, "What are worthless and wicked people like? They are constant liars, signaling their deceit with a wink of an eye, a nudge of the foot, or the wiggle of fingers. Their perverted hearts plot evil, and they constantly stir up trouble, but they will be destroyed suddenly, broken in an instant, beyond all hope of healing." So if you want to know what a worthless and wicked person is, Solomon says they are constant liars. Yeah, they're here to deceive you. They have no intention of telling the truth, because what you got to lie for? Then verse 13 talks about body language. It says that signaling their deceit with a wink of an eye, a nudge of the foot, or the wiggle of fingers. A lot of times when folks be lying, they either looking away, they moving their hands, they a little fidgety. Their body language is completely different from whenever they're just telling the truth. But y'all be so blurred by people and their looks and their deceit, because a lot of times lies don't look like lies until later on and you see a pattern. But ways that people can cover up their lies is by being charming, being manipulative, persuasive, to blur from their lying. So it makes you a wicked and worthless person, because an authentic person, they don't have to do that. Some people get so carried away with lying that they have no intention of fixing their ways. And they think that they're getting away with it, but you're not. Karma comes back and bites everybody in the booty. So in verse 15 it says, "But they will be destroyed suddenly, broken in an instant, beyond all hope of healing." So you get so carried away in your sin, because lying is a sin. You get so carried away in persuading people and manipulating people. And Solomon is saying you might not even have time to get that straight. You might be destroyed. You might be dead before you get that right, and then end up repenting for that or handling that on Judgment Day. But then again, Solomon doesn't stop there either. He says in verses 16 through 19, he said, "There are 6 things the Lord hates. No, 7 things he detests: a haughty eye, a lying tongue, hands that kill the innocent, a heart that plots evil, feet that race to do wrong, a false witness who pours out lies, and a person who sows discord in a family." Let's break this down. The first thing that Solomon points out that God hates, which hate and detest are synonyms of each other, is a person with a haughty eye. So you know what that means? That means haughty means lustful, lusting after somebody, looking at somebody lustfully. So as men and women, we need to carry ourselves in a way where we're not lusting over somebody, or we're not caused to lust over somebody based off of someone's appearance, how they carry themselves, how they're throwing themselves onto you. Yeah. Because even if you look at people in the Bible, you can look at David, you can look at Solomon, who were both struggling with looking at people lustfully, and how their lust led to other layers of sin or other things of sin, and how because of that, God couldn't fully use them. It hindered them in their purpose for the Lord some way, somehow. Solomon also points out that a lying tongue is the next thing that God hates, which makes sense. It's an abomination of God. Lying is one of the abominations of God that God just do not like a liar. I get it. Because what you lying for? But then the next thing is hands that kill the innocent. Self-explanatory. A heart that plots evil. For the people that struggle to let God do it, and instead you want to do it yourself and try to get revenge, God's got something for you. He hates that. He hates that because your life is not your own, 1. But 2, why are you taking matters into your own hands? Why are you taking matters into your own hands? God got this. And you're burdening yourself going after people whenever God got it. But since you wanted to step in and do it yourself, God got something for you too. God knows people by their fruits. So feet that race to do evil or race to do wrong is not of God. A false witness who pours out lies is not of God. A person who sows discord in a family is not of God, because God has you and your family for a reason. Okay. So a lot of these things are going to lead you to destruction. All these things can lead you to destruction. And 9 times out of 10, starting with these first 7 sins, and they're not really first, but the things that God is emphasizing that he hates, these sins lead to other sins. Matter of fact, every sin leads to another sin to keep it going. And if you're not disciplined enough, you're not going to know how to break away from that. So God is emphasizing right here that he hates when people do these 7 things. Then in verses 20 through 23, it says, "My son, obey your father's command and don't neglect your mother's instruction. Keep their words always in your heart. Tie them around your neck. When you walk, their counsel will lead you. When you sleep, they will protect you. When you wake up, they will advise you. For their command is a lamp and their instruction is a light. Their corrective discipline is the way to life. Train up a child in the way they should go, and they should not flee from it. And if they do flee, then they'll come back to it." So this is just saying your mother and your father 9 times out of 10 have your best interest. Okay. So listening to them and following their instruction from how you was raised 9 times out of 10 is going to help you a lot in life. I can only speak for me, but I am so blessed that I was raised the way I was raised, because I look at my life and I dodged plenty of things based on how I was taught from my parents. So it does make an impact. Then in verse 24, it says that because of these teachings that your mother and father were supposed to give you if they were in the correct way, that it will keep you from the immoral woman, from the smooth tongue of a promiscuous woman. Don't lust for her beauty. Don't let her coy glances seduce you. For a prostitute will bring you to poverty, but sleeping with another man's wife will cost you your life. Can a man scoop a flame into his lap and not have his clothes catch on fire? Can he walk on hot coals and not blister his feet? So it is with the man who sleeps with another man's wife. He who embraces her will not go unpunished. It's crazy, because even in verses 24 through 29, we see in today's culture that, oh, it's okay to sleep with anybody. Oh, 9 times out of 10, you're meeting women or you're meeting men that are promiscuous to get what they want. And this is exactly what the Bible is saying not to do. On top of that, it's a proud thing. Oh, I took your man. Oh, I took your woman. I took your wife. I slept with your wife. And the Bible is saying you are not going to go unpunished. God will get you, because fat meat is greasy. Fat meat is greasy. He's saying, can a man scoop a flame into his lap and not catch his clothes on fire? Can he walk on hot coals and not blister his feet? You do something that is intentionally going to hurt somebody else, it's going to hurt you too. You do something to please your sin, it's going to bite back at you. And that's exactly what the Bible is saying. On top of that, I don't think people understand that a husband and a wife make a covenant with God. So you're not protected. Trust me, it is not a flex sleeping with somebody's wife, sleeping with somebody's husband, or sowing discord in a family. That's something that God said that he hated. Yeah, you're not going to go unpunished. And if you know what you're doing, you're going to be held more accountable. And you do know what you're doing now, if that is you. So if that is the case, repent and move on. Not saying you're not going to suffer the consequences because you repented, but you're going to at least have less of a package to deal with when it's your time for judgment. In verse 30 through 35, and we're almost finished here, it says, excuses might be found for a thief who steals because he is starving. But if he is caught, he must pay back 7 times what he stole, even if he has to sell everything in his house. But the man who commits adultery is an utter fool, for he destroys himself. He will be wounded and disgraced. His shame will never be erased. For the woman's jealous husband will be furious, and he will show no mercy when he takes revenge. He will accept no compensation, nor be satisfied with the payoff of any size. So Solomon is saying that if you have taken something from somebody, you might not get the same thing taken away from you, but whatever you value, whatever you cherish, whatever you worked hard for, whatever you paid for, whatever was given to you, it's going to be taken away from you 7 times over. So it wasn't even worth you stealing in the first place. On top of that, karma doesn't come when you want it to. So your time might come, or your karma might come through family. It might come through death. It might come through finances. It might come through your children. The list goes on of what it can be taken away from. But it's the simple fact that it wasn't yours to begin with. Then it says that, but the man who commits adultery is an utter fool, for he destroys himself. He is disgraced and wounded. Meaning that when you sleep with multiple people, because the Bible says that we're supposed to have one person that we're in covenant with, that you're basically damaged. How many of you can attest that you have slept with people that you wish you could have taken that back, or it wasn't even worth it, or you feel like you wasted your time? And the reason is because whenever that time comes for the person that is meant for you, they will never have all of you. Because when you sleep with somebody, you make a soul tie with that person, regardless of if you think about them or not, or, you know, the experience was great or not. You have spiritually made a soul tie with that person, which was only supposed to be meant for your husband, was only supposed to be meant for your wife. So you're messing that up because your body is a temple, and you have a rib taken out for your wife to have. Is not worth you destroying your body. It's not worth you messing up your mental, because with soul ties also comes depression, anxiety, whatever those person's demons are. I don't think people understand that. Last thing that Solomon points out is, for the woman's jealous husband will be furious, and he will show no mercy when he takes revenge. He will accept no compensation, nor be satisfied with a payoff of any size. Because what you fail to understand is that whenever a husband and a wife come together, they make vows, and they are in a spiritual covenant with God, a representation of God and God's creation. You stepping into that, you will be dealt with. And he has every right to stand up for his family, because that's what he's supposed to do anyway. As a husband, that's his. And as a wife, that's hers. They went before God and made that very clear. So, Proverbs 6 was definitely a mouthful. But I think there's something for everyone to take from in Proverbs 6 to make us better images of God.